I think he's fine with whatever. So y'all like the little dinner cruise? I love going down the river there. It's so cool. That's our home away from home. All right. Good morning, beautifuls. Happy September 9th, 2018. Glad to see everybody. Look at y'all putting on your sweaters with a good attitude. The Lord will bless you. Say what? Well, I see everybody's Rose buttoning up. They're like, we know it's not going to get any warmer, so we came prepared. I'm like, that's right. That's right. Bring a blanket. I don't care. Snuggle up with somebody. I don't care, but I ain't bringing that muggy stuff in here. I got to keep it crisp. Look around, make sure you know the person you're standing next to or in front of or behind, and say hello. We're glad to have Judah's out of town, so Jonah is here with us today, and Jared's here. So I have my eldest son and my youngest son here together, and I'm always glad when they're here. And Jared has some friends. If you see, he told them to put the cameras up, but he's got some documentary filmmaker friends. So you said they're from Sweden, Switzerland, and they wanted to come check us out today, but. So there, if you see somebody around, that's who they are. And so we're in agreement for a beautiful day. I've got a good word for you and a lot of good stories to tell and pretty pictures to show you. And you're going to be so glad that you came today. So now that we're all standing, please remain standing for the official start for the YouTube audience. Hey, Samantha, come
in. Good morning, and welcome to Metron.
Y'all ran 5K?
Metron is measure or sphere of influence. And we want to help you find your metron through motivation, enlightenment, transcendence, renewal, outreach, and networking. Today is your day to find your metron, and we hope you enjoy the service.
Good morning, beautiful Metronites. Give yourselves a big hand for being here. Those of you who are logging on via the World Wide Web, we welcome you. Glad that Charles is back from Dragon Con. I got to give props to BJ, because BJ did like 14 jobs last week, and he did them all. He even got up somehow and took pictures even. I thought, wow, that's amazing. Like, how did you multitask like that? But we're glad that everybody's back. I know Jack and Jackie are on vacation, and Keith's away on business, so... those of you that, and those who remain, glad some of you have remained and know the rapture did not take place, but we're glad that you're here. Yesterday was Patricia's birthday, so happy birthday to Patricia. And today is actually Ernie's birthday, so happy birthday to Mr. Ernie. And we're glad Leona's here. Leona, she's overcoming in an area that she's gonna get through it, and they're gonna find the answer to it, and she's gonna get everything's gonna get right like it's supposed to. And same thing for Miss Lillian, because I think they've had a similar situation. But we stay strong and we keep moving forward. And when one thing doesn't work, we go, okay, well, we can scratch that off the list. Now let's try this, and it's so everybody's gonna get their battery charged today, and you're gonna leave here in a little bit saying, all right, we're ready to take on the next week. Amen? We're glad to have Judah as our Artist of the Month, and he'll be back for the rest of the month. But he went down to Orlando for the Rock the Universe he's been going to for years. And so I was going to just do meditation today, but I thought, no, if Jonah's available, I'm going to see if he can come in. And he was and is available. So we're always glad to have him. So would you, without further ado, please welcome the one, the only, Jonah Swilley. Jonah.
Let's all sit together.
Yeah. How's everybody doing today? I can't speak yet. It's good to see y'all. I could change the world with my own 2 hands. I could make a better place with my own 2 hands. I can make a kinder place with my own 2 hands. With my own 2 hands. With my own 2 hands. Bow, 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 bow. Whoa, 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 whoa. I can make peace on earth with my own 2 hands, and I can clean up the earth with my own 2 hands, and I can reach out to you with my own 2 hands, with my own 2 hands, with my own 2 hands. I'm gonna make it a brighter place with my own. I'm gonna make it a safer place with my own. I'm gonna help the human race with my own 2 hands. Now I can hold you with my own 2 hands, and I can comfort you with my own 2 hands. But you got to use your own 2 hands. Use your own 2 hands. Use your own 2 hands. With my own 2 hands. Thank y'all. There's a light in my life shining over me. There's a light in my life shining over me, yeah. Let your blessings from above fill me with that precious love. There's a light in my life shining over me. Lord, sometimes I sit and wonder why strange things happen to me. Then again I feel my friends, they're all gone, yeah. But if I put my trust in Jesus, my balance is restored. I got a light in my life shining over me. There's a light in my life shining over me. Oh, there's a light in my life shining over me, yeah. Let your blessings from above fill me with that precious love. There's a light in my life shining over me. Lord, walk with me and talk with me. Please stay close by my side. Be my shelter, be my comfort, be my guide. I was blind, but now I see. Jesus came in and rescued me. There's a light in my life shining over me. There's a light in my life shining over me. There's a light in my life shining over me. There's a light in my life shining over me. Let your blessings from above fill me with that precious love. There's a light in my life shining over me. Let your blessings from above fill me with that precious love. There's a light in my life shining over me. Thank y'all. That's the first time I played it. I was trying to get through it. I love that song though. And it's been just in my head. Like I just keep no, it's a random song. It's this lady named Shirley something or another, but no, it's not Shirley Caesar. It's like a random old cut of some gospel song. I like it. Real quick. This song I sing all the time, but I feel like I can't ever sing it enough. Just because of the message. I am blessed, 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 I am blessed to be a witness. Corcovado parted the sky. Through the darkness, on us he shines. Crucified in stone, still his blood is my own. Glory behold, oh my eyes have seen. I am blessed, 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 I am blessed to be a witness. Oh, I am blessed to be a witness. Some have gone and flown away, can't be with us, oh, here today. Like the hills of our home, some have crumbled, now are gone. Gather round for today, won't come again, won't come again. This is the part that matters. I am blessed, I am blessed, I am blessed, oh I am blessed, yes I am blessed, I am blessed, I am blessed to be here today, like a question never asked. Is wisdom wasted on the path? Only by the grace of God go I. I am blessed, 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 I am blessed to be a witness. I am blessed, I am blessed, I am. You can tell anybody that.
Yeah, Jonah Swilley. That's good. Love it. I love all those song choices. There's a great strength on your declarations today. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you. Thanks for stepping up today, bud. I appreciate it. You may be seated. You know, there's nothing more powerful than the phrase I am. And whatever you follow it up with really becomes your truth. When you say I am whatever. And just every time he would just make the declaration, I am blessed, I just felt it stronger. And that's what you're blessed to be a witness. Whatever you go through, it's so that you get your story and your happy ending. Just like there's a gospel according to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, there's a gospel according to Patricia. There's a gospel according to Karen. We all have our parables that we learn from life, and we have the stories of our miracles and all that kind of stuff. So we're all blessed to be a witness. Amen? Good stuff, good stuff. Again, happy to have Jared with us today, and I think he was waving for you to come over and sit with him, but hey, bud, good to see you. Good. What, Matthew and Patricia can't sit by each other? What is it? Hey, Amanda's not here. If you can't be with the one you love the one you're with. I'm sorry, Matthew. I got you right in the center there. Sorry about it. Now you got to move down. Y'all got to make my pictures look good. Now you got to move down. Now I'm much happier. Okay, our every week we do a year of living your best life challenge, and this week I love that you got this because I asked you to do 30 minutes a day of silence. Not technically meditation. Meditation is silence, but there is some structure to meditation. Silence is kind of just a different thing. It's just be quiet, go be reflective, and so several of you I was by a little lake, took that, and that's my feet with a glass of wine after some crazy stuff that happened last weekend, and I took my quiet time. That was, you can't see it, but that was Eddie up there, and there's Francis's garden, and that's Avery up before dawn, and there's another one, Francis's patio, and that was Avery at a cemetery. That was me out on the beach. There was another one with Eddie, and so I got a lot of good feedback from just what you heard in the silence. Silence speaks. And so when you just get quiet, you find that there's probably too much prayer going on. If you'll just be quiet, the answers are usually within you. That's not just some new age meme that we post on Facebook. You'll find that it really is. That's a first. But we got the temp good. And y'all don't look hysterical. Usually by this time you're like, oh, it's so cold. Good. It's good. Everybody looks younger when it's a little cooler. You look more refrigerated. When it gets too muggy, you start looking saggy. So our challenge for this week, if you're not really up on nutritional value of things, you might need to do a little research for this. I'm not asking you to be vegetarian. I'm not fully vegetarian, but I want to put the emphasis this week on plant-based protein, because a lot of people think that you can only get protein from animal products, and that's not true. So I want you to find and eat things that are plant-based. Like there's, Michelle's put several things up here, but there's nuts, legumes, beans. A lot of dark green stuff has protein in it. It's interesting if you'll just Google it, you'll find there actually is protein in vegetable life. A lot of the grains are high protein. I love, I don't know if you've ever had quinoa. It's really, really good, and it's high in protein. So I want you to, because your body does need it, but you don't have to just always eat animals to get it. So this is going to be for your health and also to learn a little something. So find out what you're eating. You know, when I eat at Whole Foods a lot, and I'm always, as I'm walking around looking at stuff, like, what are the calories in that? And I'm just curious. I'm not being legalistic about it. And you'll find out, like I found out recently, that okra is a superfood, and I didn't know that. I really never read about okra. I mean, if you grew up in the South, you were raised with okra, but you find out that, now maybe not when you deep fry it, and but okra is actually really good for you. It's interesting when you read what you're, like I keep telling you, don't eat to fill your belly, eat to fill your body, feed your body. That has longer lasting health benefits for you. Thank you for all the good feedback from our little trip this week. This is what happened. This is what had happened. My parents hadn't been to the beach in a long time, and they're at the place now where just getting in the car and driving there is basically that season is over. Dad doesn't drive, and it's hard for her to drive that long. They got dogs. They got to find places that are dog friendly. It's just, there's a lot to it. So my cousin has a condo in Panama City Beach, and she texted me a few weeks ago, and she said, I have an idea. She said, the condo's available, and it belonged to my mom's oldest sister, who really was more like my mom's aunt, my mom's mom. So she has a lot of sentimental connection with it, and she said, it's available in September if you can want to take your parents down there. And I said, you know what? Actually, that's a great idea. Thank you so much. And so for weeks now, you know, Mom will tell me, she says, well, your dad went to bed tonight. He said, if I don't wake up in the morning, I just want you to know I love you. I said, well, y'all have to live till the first week of September, because Ken's already taken the days off. Whatever you do after that, you know, go with God. But y'all have to survive until then, because I'm taking you to Florida. You understand? And it's amazing. Every time I say it to them, they get well. You know, it's like, so, yeah, Dad went out as soon as he got in the car. But they were really sweet, and they had great attitudes. And if you saw some of the drama I was going through last Sunday, it was kind of self-inflicted. Well, first of all, I had to Uber over here, and I left my car keys in the car, and that set off a whole set of things, which is really, it's not that big a deal. You know what I mean? It's just, it was a lot of stuff at once, and people are talking to me, and they're trying to counsel with me, and I'm like, I'm trying to find my keys right now because I got to get them before I go out of town. Anyway, I'll spare you all the boring details because I have many other boring details to share with you, so I'll be selective. But that worked out, but I had it in my head that I was going to rent a large SUV because I thought Mom had kennels to put the dogs in, and so I had it all worked out. I was going to go down to the airport, and I'd rented this thing. Well, long story short, I wasn't able to get it. It was not a big deal. It was one of those things where I kept running into enough red lights with it. I thought, you know, I think I'm making this harder than it needs to be. And Frances had offered me her truck, and said, Ray had texted me. So I saw, you know, all the people want to help. I said, no, it's fine. It's fine. We ended up taking Ken's car, and it was fine. We had plenty of room. I've become so aware of how powerful thoughts are that I was thinking, man, I just cannot be in that car for 6 hours with those two hyper dogs. And then I thought, well, you know, I think I'm self-sabotaging here. Why am I sending this thought out? Why don't I just say, those dogs are going to be fine? And you know what? They were fine. They got in the car, went to sleep. They were totally fine. I'm telling you, your words are powerful, but so are your thoughts. And so everything was great. Now, I'll tell you this, you know, getting mom and dad up and down stairs now is something you have to plan ahead for, and you don't realize how many stairs there are everywhere you go until you're trying to get two elderly people in and out of places. There's like a flight of stairs up to the condo, and I took them out on a boat, and there's a lot of stairs on that, and you got to go to the bathroom all the way down. They did it. They were troopers. They had good attitudes. Dad was lucid the whole week. He knew where he was. He didn't. Sometimes at his stage, sometimes when you take somebody back home after they've been gone, they're disoriented. And we got back in Friday night. I said, Dad, you know where you are? And he did. Yeah, she was feeding the seagulls. She loved that. Deb said she looks like Tippi Hedren on the birds, and I said, yeah, she does. But it just couldn't have been better, and that was really cool. I took him out on the pier. They didn't feel like it. I said, you're going out here to watch the sunset. You hear me? And then they walked all the way to the end of the pier. They loved it. Once you get them out there, they're fine, and they loved it. And I really loved that. When somebody said it reminded them of Cocoon, it looked like the UFO coming in to take the. I said, well, come on. But it was just great. And you know, when you have opted out of negativity, you are become very aware of how negative people are. I had all kind of people texting me, going, y'all better get out of there. Gordon's coming through. I'm like, God almighty, y'all, what the heck? First of all, Gordon's not even coming by here. Secondly, if he does, it's no big deal. We don't care if it rains a little bit. Shut up. That dog loves Ken. Lord have mercy. Mom keeps saying, if something happens to us, you're getting the dog. I'm like, well, dogs can go on with you. I go on. Y'all guess take them with you. But I'm amazed how not only people are negative, they're just so lectury. You know, people are saying, if the red flags are on the beach, don't go in the water. I'm like, I'm with my 85-year-old father. You really think we're going surfing? Really? You think I don't know better than Dad, sorry, don't take your surfboard. Like, what the heck? I'm a grown man. Stop telling me what to do. So finally, the sun came out, and it was beautiful, and everything. Our weather mojo was totally working, and it was great. And let me tell you this other really cool thing that happened. I told you I took Sophia out the other night, and where I parked at across from the Fox, I scraped my car up that I had just had fixed, and I had to put it back in, and it was $400 more than the last time. It was. I thought, well, it's fine. And remember, I told you that I was talking to Carlton last Saturday, and when I was out I was on the sidewalk, and a dollar bill came floating by, and I really felt like the universe was saying the money's going to come in for it. Now, listen, I had the money. You need to understand this. I wasn't believing for a miracle. That's not the point. I have the money. It's just that I thought, I don't want to spend that right now. And I thought, well, the money's going to come in. It's fine. And I'll let it go. Well, all week, he kept saying, well, why don't you call your insurance? At least if you pay the deductible, put on your insurance, it'll be a few $100s less than it is. And I said, I know I should have, but I didn't, and I didn't. So there you have it. But this is what happened. First of all, since I ended up not renting the SUV, I'd already saved a whole lot of money that I would have spent otherwise. So I thought, well, if nothing else, what I would have spent renting a vehicle for a week is going to be about the same neighborhood of what I got to pay for this car. So technically, I've already gotten it back. And then I started seeing all these other things happening. Like we were out on the boat, and Frances texted me. She said, "Are y'all eating at Captain Anderson's tonight?" I said, "Yeah, the boat comes back in at 4:30. I can walk them right in there." And she said, "Well, I want to pay for your dinner." And she called ahead and got us a gift certificate. And just little things were happening. Like Linda Curtis had bought a painting, and she sent me some money. I said, "What's this for?" She said, "I don't feel like I paid enough for that painting. I want to pay you some more." I said, okay. So I could see it coming in, and then we got back. Dad wanted to give me some cash for some of the things I'd bought during the week. And I said, it's not necessary, but he gave it to me anyway. So I thought, all right, well, technically the money's coming in. So, it's not the full amount, but it's coming in, and I got it anyway. But I really did feel like this thing's going to be paid for. I just really felt like it. So yesterday, the body shop closes early afternoon. So we got up. I said, go ahead and take me on over. Let me get my car because I don't want us to get caught up and stuff, and then they get closed, and I can't get it out till Monday. And the guy had told me, he said, if you can pay cash for it, I'll knock about $70 off because well, he'd have to pay the fee for doing a credit card. So I went by my bank. The bank, I didn't know my bank was closed on Saturday. I thought, it's fine. You can't get out that much cash out of an ATM. It's fine. And the money's already started to trickle in anyway. So I've already heard the dollar bill that floated down the sidewalk is already speaking. But I kept thinking, I really think it's more than this. So while we were going there, somebody that used to go to church in the now, who I haven't seen in 7 years, texted me and said, I have something for you. And I said, well, he had texted me earlier in the week. I said, well, I've taken my parents to Florida, but I'll be back. So when we were there, I thought, I wasn't even thinking about money. I just thought, I texted him. I said, just so you know, we're back home, and my schedule is flexible. He said, well, can you meet me in an hour? Okay, and he's driving in from Mansfield, I think, somewhere out where y'all live, out the east. And I said, yeah, that's fine. So picked up my car. They got the car washed. I met him. He had to meet somewhere because he had a trailer on the back of his truck. So we go in, and I said, hey, he's one of those kind of connections that as soon as you see somebody, you're talking, and we had revelation. He said, he says two things. He said, I drive back and forth to Alabama every day, or every week, and I listen to your CDs from back in the day. And he said, we go to another church now. He said, but you're the one that speaks to me. He said, I hear your voice all the time. And he said, I also remember when our daughter was in the hospital a few years ago, even though you weren't really our pastor anymore, you came to the hospital. And he said, I feel like I've never really thanked you for that. And he hands me an envelope, and it's the exact amount that the car was. And I thought, wow. So little bits that came in was just good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. I really felt like, again, it's not that I had the money. It's that I felt like it was going to come in supernaturally. And I told him, I said, this means one thing to you, but to me it means something else because of the timing of it. Because I'm going to pick up this car as I'm texting him, and he's saying, can you meet me in an hour? I said, it's the timing of it. Now, again, some people would say, that you're just looking for stuff. Duh, you think? Of course I'm looking for stuff. And as I keep telling you, the scripture that says, some people heard thunder, other people thought an angel was speaking. Einstein says there's two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle. The other is as though everything is a miracle. So you can say, well, it was just a dollar bill blowing down the sidewalk last Saturday. I can say, no, it was a green light from the universe saying there's plenty of money everywhere. And when I'm sitting there with an envelope full of cash that's the amount of the money I just spent on my car, you can't tell me that's a fluke. If you want to live in that world where you think that's a fluke, have at it. Fine. But for some of us, we've opted into this other zone. And you can say we're out to lunch. You can say that we're too optimistic or whatever. Fine. Say whatever you want to say. All I can tell you is I got my car paid for, and because I didn't rent the vehicle, it's like a double. I mean, are you kidding me? I'm like Rockefeller now. I'm taking y'all out to lunch this afternoon. No, that's a lie. Now I went too far. Rein it in. So everything just, everything that we planned worked out exactly as it was supposed to. We had more than enough. I had this great time with my parents, and it really made me rethink even a lot of things with them. Like, wow, they kind of respond to my attitude about things, so I need to believe the best for them. And when you're away on a trip with somebody, anybody for several days, where it's four of you together, there's a lot of potential for somebody get on somebody's nerves or whatever. None of that happened at all. It was just great, and they had a lovely time, and I really walk in what I teach you, and I believe you do too. And that's why when Jonah, every time he would say that phrase, I am blessed, I loved all of it. I love with my own two hands. That's the Ben, what's his name? Ben Harper. I liked your cover. You did a little different than you did. It was good. I love that because it's a song about personal responsibility. I can change the world with my own two hands. Love the second one. You're very prophetic in your declarations today. I love there's a light. I used that this week because Ken and I walked down to the beach, and it was gray and drizzly. And somebody said, he took a picture of me sitting on the beach, and somebody said, wow, you make it look sunny even when the weather's not good in there. And I said, and when the night is cloudy, there is still a light that shines on me. And so we're all blessed to be a witness. And thank you for indulging my stories, but there's a point to them. And let that inspire you. There's more, whatever you need, there's more than enough. The universe is abundant. Amen? All right. Our outreach this month was this American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. We're supporting the Georgia chapter this month. It's better to light a candle than it is to curse the darkness. So we can't fix the whole problem of suicide, but at least we're doing something. We're making an effort. And it's just too easy for people to say, you know, these people need Jesus or they wouldn't commit suicide. That's not true. I know a lot of people that know Jesus that still kill themselves. So this is a very well vetted charity. So that's what we're sowing into this month. If you don't know, every month we do a different charity, and I believe that's why we are blessed. And I got to tell you, I haven't even told Avery this, but you know where I'm kind of looking at doing our Christmas thing, kind of? I'm kind of looking at one of the places, the Fox Theater. It's not the whole theater, but they've got some, they've got a cool place that I really like upstairs. And I'm just saying, there's a possibility. That dollar bill should have never floated down that sidewalk. Because now I'm on every sidewalk, I'm like, where's the money? Come on. Come to Papa. So I don't know. That's where the energy is. And it's not a whole lot more than Paris and Ponce, where we were last. So I'm thinking, I don't know. I was looking at another place, but I thought, wow, it would be really cool. It'd be cool to get dressed up and go to the Fox for Christmas a little bit, don't you think? So we'll see. Now I've said it. Now it's out there. Now it's going to start working. Also, one other thing. Remember, our meditation weekend is October 20th and 21st in Cherokee, North Carolina. We'll be there. It'll be a little bit different than the previous two that we've done because we'll be in the woods. But I think there's a real connection with indigenous cultures there and the Native Americans. Stephen's going to be there. We've talked about making his part a little more into what I'm doing, where we just do it all with music and we don't, it'll be seamless. And so I'm looking forward to that. Danny texted me yesterday. He said, we'll see you in October. And I said, you mean you're going to Cherokee? And he said, oh, yeah, I understand. We're going to Cherokee, and I'll see you every Sunday until then. Because it sounded like, we'll see you in October. Man, I know that's not what he means. So always follow up on your text and go, well, you mean you're going to Cherokee? Yes. Yeah, okay, gotcha. So if you want to go, even if you're thinking about going, let me know, and I'll put you on the group message. As I've told you, that's their peak time of year, and Cherokee's going to be very crowded that weekend. I'm already aware of that. But if you want to, if you're thinking about going, go ahead and reserve a room in a place that's got free cancellation in case for some reason you can't. But I would advise you for that time of year, go ahead and get someplace locked in. So looking forward to that. And I love some of the things that you post about, looking forward to going there. Some of the stuff that Francis posts or Leslie's put some things on. Keep that group text about that particular trip. But if it's about that, I like creating some energy for that. So, all right. Y'all ready for the word? Y'all survived last week. Now, last week was for grown-ups. Are we ready for a podcast, people? Charles, the rock god of podcasting. Welcome to the Metron Live podcast, coming to you live from Metron in beautiful, historic Midtown Atlanta, Georgia. Metron people, give the podcast people a welcome. Glad that you have logged on. Last week, we started a series that is a very mature word, and I am more excited about your feedback than I was for the revelation itself. The title this month is, it's from Deuteronomy 30:19, where Moses says, choose life. But it's creating a better reality by taking full ownership of your current one. And the scripture that we used last week was from Deuteronomy. You know, there's several chapters in there towards the end of the book of Deuteronomy where Moses is kind of preparing the Israelites for possession of Canaan. So he's sort of shaping them as a people. This is how you should think of yourself. He's preparing them to stop being nomadic and to set up a nation. And in chapter 28, those of you that have sat under me for years know I used to always end the services with, you're blessed when you come in, blessed when you go out, blessed in the city, blessed in the country, blessed in the basket, blessed in the store. All that is from Deuteronomy 28. I thought of it Friday night when I came in. I love going out of town. I love coming back. I thought, boy, I'm blessed when I go out. I'm blessed when I come back in. I love, wherever I'm at, I am fully present. I'm not homesick. I never get homesick. But when it's time to get home, I'm like, oh wow, I love my house too. It's like, it's great. It's like I love having a change of scenery. I love where I live. So in chapter 30 is where he says to them, and he's saying that he's channeling God. He says, I set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life that you and your seed may live. He wasn't saying God set before you blessing and the devil set before you cursing. He said, it's all, basically he's saying, you know, it's like quantum physics. When quantum physics says there is a quantum field that collapses into the reality of the observer, you have stuff that happens to you. Stuff just happens. You determine if it's going to collapse into a blessing or a curse. Like last Sunday night when I was taking the train back from the airport, and I was frustrated. I was frustrated because it had been a frustrating day, and I was tired, and it just, you know, when you're a visionary, you're used to the things you visualize manifesting, and when they don't manifest exactly like you saw in the picture, it's like rerouting your GPS. You're like, wow, this is how I visualized this was going to go, and it didn't go that way, so I've got to regroup. And I had a very, you know, whiny sounding call. I called Ken. He was on call, and I was like, tell me what to do. I don't know what to do. Should I push this thing? Should I go? I'll spare you the details, but it was complicated. That's why when he finally came in last Sunday night, I was folding laundry, and he came in. I said, could you please fold these sheets? Because I don't know how he can do it. He can fold a fitted sheet. I've never seen anybody be able to do it. I was married to his mother and to his mother, and I've never seen a woman that could do it. This man can fold a fitted sheet. And nothing against either of y'all's moms. Don't tell them I said that. I don't want bad mojo with baby mamas. I'm just saying, I was so amazed. It was just, that's why I said, when I go to heaven and I meet Miss Evelyn, after we get past the formalities, I'm going to say, thank you for teaching your son how to fold a fitted sheet. Because right now, it's really a blessing. Because the whole day had just been an aggravation. And when I saw him fold that sheet all nice, I was like, yes, God, won't he do it? But as I took the picture of myself on the train. I wasn't being negative. I was having to reroute the neuropaths, and then I'm sitting there and I thought, well, for one thing, you just saved yourself $1,000. So how about be happy about that? Like, okay, well there's something. But you got to, when you got momentum going, and you're like, all right, I had this worked out. I'm taking the train down, and it doesn't work that way. I'm just telling you, I'm used to catching all the green lights. That's the zone I live in. So when I run up against opposition, I have to think, all right, the universe is giving me a different message. What is it? What I heard was universe saying, you don't need to rent this expensive SUV. You're stressing out over something that's not a problem. Those dogs aren't that big. You're creating drama. that is unnecessary. We got in his he has a sports SUV. Big old moonroof. He put that roof back. I was like, what the heck was I trying not to go in this car? This car's great. I was like so happy that I rerouted. But you got to know how to reroute. And so when he says, but this is the part I taught last week, and in 46 years of preaching, I've never talked about this part. He begins that verse by saying, I call heaven and earth to witness against you that I have set before you life and death. Meaning, you can't blame God, you can't blame the devil, you can't put it off on heaven or hell. It's all you. But now here's the part that I sort of tiptoed through. And I don't know if Denise down in Cochran is streaming, if she usually watches the video later. But she has she's a very positive woman. If you knew all of her situations, you would be impressed at how positive she is. Because she has to consciously see the glass half full about some things. And she wrote me a message this week. She said, I've watched the video a second time, and she says, what I really appreciated is how careful you were not to say everything in your life is your fault. Because that's not what I wanted you to hear. Because when your plate's already full, the last thing you need to hear is, you did this. You chose this. Because the premise I was talking about, and I haven't fully agreed to it yet. I'm still dancing with it, is the concept, did we pre-exist? Were we here before we manifested in these physical bodies? Did we agree to come here? Did we sign up for the life that we have lived out? And, I've talked around this theme. Remember when I talked about the sixth day of creation and you have to, God looked at what he created and said, it is good. You have to look back at your life and not regret anything and say, it's all good. So this isn't new territory for me. But the idea that you've not only signed up for it, but you created it. Wow. I don't know if I want to know that. I don't know if I want to tell you that. What I loved is that all of you, and I know some of your situations, all of you said, all right, bring it on. If nothing else, I at least like the sense of confidence it gives me to say, my life is mine. Well, you remember when I taught you out of Job. Remember the beginning of Job is God and the devil kind of, playing with his life. The devil Satan says to God, he only serves you because everything's so good for him. And he said, if you took all the good stuff away from you, he would curse you. And it's a terrifying concept that God can be so glib about your life. And he says, all right, you can do anything, but you just can't kill him. And according to the story, which is basically an allegory, it's not literally happening, but all of Job's children are killed and he gets a disease. I mean, it's really horrible. And there's, during the unpacking of it, one of his friends says to him, God didn't do this to you. And Job says, well, if God didn't, who did? So Job is completely unaware that these two beings out there are just playing with his life. Like if somebody came to me and said, your children only like you because, you're nice to them and you pick up the tab and y'all go to lunch or something. And, if you'll just let me burn their house down, you'll find out they don't like you. I'd be like, hell no, you can't do that to my kids. And I think why was God just giving Job up to the devil like that? But the whole point of it, this is one of the reasons I was born. Nobody knew this until I was born. Thank God. Because at the end, the whirlwind comes and speaks to Job and basically says, I will confess to you that your own right hand can save you. Deck yourself with majesty and declare me. Basically saying, Job, you're the one that can change your life. You're the one that stop thinking it's something outside you. You know what my mom said to me this week? And I told her, I said, I'm going to include this in my sermon today. Because last Saturday, when I was out walking without a car, right before I called Carlton, I called my mom because I saw that she had posted she'd gone out to see Dr. Sheila. Usually when they go out there, I have to drive them out to Conyers because they just can't They can drive close places. She can drive close places around their house, but going out to Conyers is a challenge for them. So I was like, wow, how did they get out there? So I called her, and she says, well, my knee kept going out, and I was falling, and I thought, I cannot go to Florida and fall everywhere. And somebody said, you're just out of alignment. So she said, I just called Dr. Sheila, and we just went out there, and my knee's so much better, and she was great. And I was like, okay, well, yay. And Dr. Sheila did some other things for her, because she doesn't believe Mom has Parkinson's. She thinks it might be something else. So I'm like, fine, let's find another kingdom key. And she didn't respond to it, but I texted Dr. Sheila last week. I said, you are a saint and a goddess. But I said, why didn't you respond to my text? She said, because I didn't feel like a goddess that day. I said, well, you were to me, because I didn't have any way to get my parents out there, and the fact that y'all figured it out without me was very encouraging. And you know what Mom said she did? And this is huge for my mother, because my mother hates bugs more than anybody you've ever met. But on their dining room window on the outside, I don't know what kind of spider. There's big spiders that are yellow and black, and they build this. Yeah, right. And they do these huge webs. They're beautiful. She said, I was looking at it, and she said, I know. That's her response is, get it out of here. I don't want to look at it. She said, I was sitting there looking at that web, and she said, everything on that web came from within that spider. There's nothing external. The spider creates its own environment with that web. And she said, I realize my healing's inside me. I can't depend on you for everything, and I needed to get well. So we just got out there, and I was like, since we're in church, I can't tell you that I actually said, damn. Like, wow. I mean, that's huge for you to get that and to understand that. But I said, Mom, that's kind of what I'm teaching on this month, is nothing against God, but it's that you are invested with the solution to your own problem. Now, that's all my context. Now, let me give you, I've given you this scripture before, but let me show it to you again, because it needs to be said within this teaching. This is John chapter 5. It's good already, isn't it? Come on now. John chapter 5, verse 1 through 9. This is in the Message. Soon another feast came around, and Jesus was back in Jerusalem. Near the sheep gate in Jerusalem, there was a pool, in Hebrew called Bethesda, with 5 alcoves. I've been there before. I should have sent a picture to you. You see a picture of it. Hundreds of sick people, blind, crippled, paralyzed, were in these alcoves. One man had been an invalid there for 38 years. When Jesus saw him stretched out by the pool and knew how long he had been there, he said, do you want to get well? Now, there's a teaching just in that. Because the assumption is, I can't just assume you want to be well. You may be fine with your present reality. That's why my title this month is Creating a Better Reality by Owning Your Current One. So he says, do you want to get well? The sick man said, sir, notice he didn't say yes. He said, sir, when the water is stirred, I don't have anybody put me in the pool. Remember, there was this urban legend that this angel would come by periodically and trouble the waters. And when the waters were troubled, if you got in there, you could be made well. It probably was a myth. I mean, that probably didn't happen, but that was the legend. So all of the sick and invalid people would wait around this pool for this little window of time. And when the waters were troubled, remember, the old spiritual wade in the water, God's going to trouble the water. The idea is that when the waters are troubled, that's your window of opportunity to, you got to get yours then. And so this man says, I've been out here for 38 years, and I keep waiting for, you remember when you see those little girls do the jump rope thing, and they would do this, and it's like this prep thing you do before you jump in. He said, I'm waiting, and every time I got nobody to pick me up. And he said, every time the water's troubled, somebody beats me to it, and I got nobody to help me get in here. Now, this is what's interesting. This, to me, it's in one of the top 3 stories of Jesus healing somebody that personally affects me. Because this man has told this story for 38 years. See, when Jesus says, do you want to get well, he doesn't think to say yes. He goes right into his story. Now, those of you some of you have been listening to me for years, you know I repeat stories a lot. You know the old joke about the man that gets put into prison, and the first day he's in there, somebody stands up to the bars and goes, 12, and everybody in the cell block laughs. And somebody down the cell block goes, 33, and when he said that, everybody laughs. So the guy asks his cellmate, he says, what's this thing with people yelling out numbers? He says, well, we've all been in here so long, everybody knows everybody's story, so we've just numbered them. Or everybody knows everybody's jokes. So if you want to tell a joke, you just tell that number, and everybody thinks about it, and they laugh. And he says, okay, well, I want to get in good with the guys. So what's a good one? He said, well, 17. That is everybody's favorite joke. It's a killer. It's a sure thing. He said, okay, I want to tell. So he gets up to the bar and he goes, 17. You can hear a pin drop. He goes, what's the deal? You said that was a sure thing. And he said, well, some can tell them and some can't. And for some of you, no, seriously, folks, I'll be here all week. Don't forget to tip your waiters. How you doing? Where you from? For once in my life, sorry, I went right into my lounge act. If the ministry doesn't work out, I'm going to walk right across the street. But you know, we all know people's stories. Like I know my parents' stories. I know if something comes up in conversation, I know my dad's about to tell it. I bet since they've lived in Stone Mountain, they lived across the street from my aunt and uncle. I've seen my aunt and uncle more than I used to. I know their stories now. Like if you're like Clary's going to, and sure enough, I usually will stop her. And go, yeah, I know, we know that one. So, hey Sophie, Jonah's over there. Sorry, I have to tell everybody where to go. I'm glad you're here. Good to see you. So I'm fine with having stories. The problem is when you continue to tell a story, usually that becomes your reality. That may not be a bad thing. If, however, let me ask you this. Have you ever met somebody that's sick, has a lot of sickness, and as soon as you start talking to them, they start going into their stories? Well, this is why I'm this way, and this is why, and you'll sit there and you listen to their stories, you think, wow, you've told this a lot, haven't you? Like you can tell. I recognize, because I repeat my stories a lot. So I can tell you've figured out a way, this is how you tell your story, and your story now has become your reality. Like, for instance, back in the day, I was thinking about this because Jonah was just down in Muscle Shoals. What studio is it? The Fame Studios, where back in the day, Candy Staten and a lot of people used to do recordings. Aretha Franklin recorded down there a lot. And the reason I got with ASCAP is because Candy Staten, when she became a gospel singer back in 1985, recorded 2 of my songs. And I don't know if this is the rule now, but back in the day, you had to, a songwriter had to have an internationally or a nationally known artist record one of their songs before you could be with ASCAP and get paid royalties. So that's how I got with that. And there was there was 4 or 5 different artists that covered my song, It's the Anointing. And I had this little moment of a little notoriety where I wasn't making a lot of money, but I would get a regular check, it'd be enough to buy a suit or something, and it was just enough to know that, well, somebody's singing my songs, and it was cool. Karen used to travel with Donnie and Reba, are, Grammy Award-winning songwriters. I went to one of their songwriting conferences years ago, and they were teaching how to write a song, and when I heard them teach, I thought, well, I'm doing it all wrong. I don't do it that way. And because I love them so much, they don't even know this. I've never even told them this. But I thought, well, I guess I'm not a songwriter because I don't do what y'all just said. And I never wrote after that. So for years when people would say, do you ever write songs anymore? I go, well, I used to. I wrote some back in the day in Candy Staten. Jeff Finholt recorded one of them. I said, but then I went to this songwriting seminar with Donnie and Reba, and I saw I was doing it wrong. I never wrote again. I said that for years. Now, I wasn't having to make a living as a songwriter, so there really was no fire under me to do that, to make a living. And I was building a church and creating, something that became a pretty big ministry. So it's not like I didn't have other stuff going on. But that became my story. This is why I don't write songs. I used to write. I went to a conference. Go into my next story. And one day it occurred to me, I thought, what if I had never told that story? What if I had just gone to that conference and said, well, that's one way to do it. That's not the way I do it. But apparently somebody likes my stuff because, people are recording it and people's like, they love your songs. And I thought, wow, who knows the money I might have made in the last 35 years that I just storied myself right out of. And it started me thinking of other things like, wow, because I don't know if you're this way, but I haven't, like, I used to tell you the story when Ryan Klesko used to go to the church and he was a big hunter and he wanted to take me hunting. And I was like, I don't want to go kill stuff. I don't even shoot guns, but nothing doing. He wanted to do this. So he taught me how to shoot. I went out. First time we're out, I shot a 300-pound boar. Its head is in Jared's hat. It's still there, isn't it? It's in his house in Cabbagetown. It has been bequeathed to Jared. And he was so thrilled that I did so well on my first time out that he's like, oh, man, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to go to Maine and we're going to shoot moose. I said, I don't want to shoot a moose. I have my hunting story now. I'm done. Like this did not awaken my inner hunter. I said, shooting a pig was hard enough for me. I can't imagine shooting a more noble creature. So that's my hunting story. If you say I'm going hunting, I will tell you, oh yeah, well, this baseball player used to go to my church and taught me how to hunt. I don't hunt anymore because I got my story. Once you have a story, boom, that's it. I worked with when I was in high school, my first job, I worked with this woman she's kind of a Auntie Mame kind of character, and she would take me places. And she took me, she just insisted on taking me to the opera one time. And I was like, Miss Brown, I don't want to go to the opera. But we went to the opera, and it was fine. And it was Carmen, and that was back when Marilyn Horne was real famous, and she was singing in it. So I never went to the opera again, but if you ever mention the opera, I have a story. I said, oh, yeah, one time I went and I saw Carmen and Marilyn Horne. So that has become my, it's like a vending machine. You mention a topic, I have a story for it. I tell you my story. We move on to the next thing. Again, harmless, unless it's something like this. Do you want to be well? Boom. I've been sick for 38 years. Every time I sit by the pool, there is not an angel. You don't realize how much you've said that thing, and every time you say it, again, I know I'm referring to it a lot, but didn't you feel every time he said the phrase, I am blessed, didn't you feel it a little bit stronger with each declaration? You don't realize how much you're saying over and over and over again. You just keep recreating that environment like that. I looked at that spider Friday night, and it's a huge web. It's like the entire window. And I thought, wow, he just has gone round and round and round and round and round. And from within him, he has created this world, which I set before you. I call heaven and earth and the spider web to witness against you. That I've set before you life and death. You choose if it's going to be a blessing or a curse. Because everything that happens to you is going to be one of those two things. I'm not one of these people that I don't buy into the everything happens for a reason thing. Somehow that doesn't resonate with me. Like if a child was molested or somebody's house burned down, I'm like, I don't like that. I was asking Samantha about the young cop that was shot because she did a fuzz run yesterday, and they incorporated, I guess, sending money to his family. Handsome young guy, beautiful family. There was a shoplifter in Covington, and he chased after him, and the guy shot him and then shot himself. It's tragic. But we all have these stories that we've told over and over and over again. And when you've opted out of snaring yourself with the words of your mouth, you become so aware of how much. Like we have one of the concierges that she has the night shift. Real sweet lady. We know her because she's Mr. Swilley, you got a Grubhub down here, Chinese food, send them up. You know, so I know her. So I'm in the elevator with her last week. Hey, Rita, how you doing? Whew, I'm feeling my age. I said, well, Rita, you know, it's just a number. And she looked at me, she says, you know what, it is. It is just a number. But I also thought, why would you say that? Because every time you talk about how old you're getting old ain't for sissies, you just aged yourself another 3 to 6 months every time you do it. I'm not telling you to be in age denial. I'm just saying that quote that says, how old would you be if you didn't know how old you are? Stephen will take videos of his clients when they're working out. The first one he ever posted me, he said, age is no big deal. I said, what, am I your poster child for the oldest guy? Really? That has to be that's what you came up with? You had to make it about, I'm your oldest client? Really? He never did that again. Now when he posted one, Jim Swilley came in and hit it. I was like, that's more like it. I don't want to be the poster old guy. Please. But what's amazing about this, he says, by the time I get there, somebody else is already in. Jesus said, oh, I feel so sorry for you that you've been sitting out here for 38 years. Maybe I could get some people to come help you get in next. Is that what he says? Jesus completely puts him on a different wavelength. Jesus says, get up, take your bedroll, start walking. The man was healed on the spot. He picked up his bedroll and walked off. Now, I'm not telling you to start jerking people out of wheelchairs and saying, start walking. That's not what I'm telling you to do. I'm saying Jesus, he didn't get pulled into that man's vortex. Because let me tell you something. When you're around somebody who's told their story for 38 years, there's such a strong gravitational pull on that negativity that when you're around them, you start getting right into it. Before you know it, I'm telling you, in all due respect, let me tell you what happened with my parents this week. My dad's 85, my mom's 80. They have issues. They were pulled into our reality. Do you understand? Because when we go places, Mom actually said, I can't believe how much we did in 4.5 days. I said, well, that's the way we roll. When we get there, we hit the ground, we start taking pictures. I make no excuse for it. When somebody goes, y'all on a trip again? I'm like, this is why you don't have trips in your life. This is what's wrong with you. I'm jealous of you. This is why you don't have a fabulous life. Because that's your first response. Other people are like, oh, wow, I feel like I went to Florida with you this week. I'm like, this is why good stuff is happening to you. Again, Jesus said, to them that have, more will be given. Let me tell you the biggest waste of time you can ever make with God. Don't you see how bad my situation is? That's like, I used to say that my granddaughters, they're like, when I'm out with them, they're like little adults. They are completely a pleasure. But Olivia went through the typical little phase that, at a certain age where everything you say is whiny. And I said, Olivia, I don't speak that language. So if you're whining something to me, I don't understand. I'm like, what? I don't understand what you're saying. I said, if you'll speak to me in a normal voice, tell me what you want, we'll see if we can make it happen. She got it immediately. Immediately, she's like, Poppy, I'd rather eat here. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Actually, it's a better idea. I like that better. But if you're going, I'm like, I don't no comprende. I did not understand a word you said. Look at this quote. Thomas F. Shubnall. You will never be who you want to be until you are happy with who you are. I've learned this even about working out. I mean, we had a good time this week, so I probably put 2 or 3 pounds back on, which I will lose this week. Wellington, can we take this man out, please? of somebody in the audience being disruptive. You don't just talk out. But as of last week, I was, I was down about 25, and it's it's fun, buying different size clothes and all that kind of stuff. But I've also, because I still have a ways to go, and I have, like, even this morning, I'm looking at myself. I'm like, well, all right, be happy that you've made it this far. You're gonna have to get back in this week and start it up again, which is fine. I'll be in there in the morning and probably go every day this week. Fine. I have learned that you have to love where you are right now, because if you're trying to create a different body image out of hatred for what you currently have, it's short-lived. Like you'll do some stuff, and then at a certain point you'll be like, this is who I am, screw it, I'm not going to do it anymore. You have to just be happy with where you are right now and celebrate where you are right now. Take your little selfies where you are right now. Like, I'm not, in the gospel church, used to hear the songs that would say, we're not what we're going to be, but we're not what we used to be. There's a great truth in that. It's like, well, we've come this far. We have some ways to go, but forgetting these things which are behind. And I love this because we can all become better versions of ourselves. But in the meantime, you have to just love and nurture who you are now and not beat yourself up over dumb stuff that you did or said or whatever, because you did it and you said it. It's over. It doesn't matter. Honestly, most people aren't thinking about the stuff that you think they're thinking about. They're just not. Most people are self-absorbed enough. They're thinking about their own stuff. Let me show you this next quote. This is J.K. Rowling that wrote the Harry Potter series. She says, there is an expiration date on blaming your parents for steering you in the wrong direction. The moment you are old enough to take the wheel, responsibility lies with you. It's true. I have. Uh-oh. Hold your church hat, BJ. He's running the aisles. Hold your hat. I have heard it said that is the true definition of maturity. When you get to the place that you no longer blame your parents for what you think is wrong, that's when you know, oh, I am now an adult. And that does not mean that your parents did everything right. I told you this last week, and I know I was being personal, but when before I came out publicly, I met with this therapist who helped people in coming out. And I think it was by my second visit, I'd just been going through the whole thing about, I think I'm gay because my dad was this and my mom was this. I was going on and on and on and on. And he stopped me in mid-sentence. He said, can I just say something? He said, we're on your dime. If you want to sit here every week and talk about your parents, that's fine. Say what you want to say. He said, but first of all, you're going with the assumption that there's something wrong with you because it's like you're blaming somebody. He says, there's nothing wrong with being who you are, and that's who you are. And he said, secondly, the overwhelming biological evidence is that if you're gay, you were born that way. And he said, you're wasting your time and my time trying to get to the root of why am I this way? Because that's how you are, and how you're always going to be. So, let it go and move on. And I'm telling you, I never had to see him after that. I was like, I got it. There was something about a professional saying that to me. It was like, here's your check. Thank you. I'm good. Went and told my kids, y'all need to know this. Y'all good. They were good. I'm like, I'm bulletproof now. As long as my kids are fine. Everybody, some church people didn't like it. That's on them. That's their misinterpretation of Scripture. That's not my problem. We had a family that their sons were good friends with my sons. And they kind of freaked out and they left. They said, we just don't know what to tell our boys now that you've said you're gay. I said, well, why don't you tell them not to be bigoted homophobes? How about that? How about you teach them how to live in the real world? Because whether you understand this or not, there's a percentage of the population that always has been. Don't get me started on what wouldn't be in the earth without gay people. Y'all better thank gay people. No Broadway, no Hollywood. Your house would be ugly. Your hair, dear Lord, don't even get me started on your hair. There'd be no gospel music. No choir director, especially in the black church. Come on now. Y'all know it's true. Everybody acts like it ain't true. I'm like, seriously? I'm pretty sure I saw Demetrius dancing at the Heretic last night, and I'm. The only time we ever went to that club one time, walked in the door, everybody said, "Hey Bishop, how you doing?" I'm like, "Where do y'all know me, bro?" I won't tell you the pastors of mega churches that their organists all in there. They all knew each other. Oh, we love your ministry so much. Well, praise the Lord. We're having revival up in this gay bar, aren't we? Come on, Jesus. Won't he do it? Oh, I just told too much truth right there. Woo! There's too much truth in there. I got to get a nurse. Find one of those nurses to take me out. I need one of those rooms where people go cool off. White people don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, Jesus. This is just true because I'll tell you this. If it's not your parents, it's something else. There's something, and look, I'm not telling you not to cry out against injustice in the world. If there's injustice about a situation, fine. Do what you can do to push back, but don't use it as your own personal excuses for what you don't acquire in your own life, because you end up just coming up with your own 38-year story that keeps you by the pool of Bethesda. Because that's a strong question. Do you want to get well? You know, Dr. Dispenza said something when I went to his seminar. He said, we get so addicted to negative feelings that when those feelings are not there anymore, we don't feel like ourselves because we're so used to thinking that way that it nearly feels weird to be happy. It's like in Psalm 124, it says, when the Lord turned the captivity of Zion, we were as them that dreamed. And the Amplified Bible says, we were like people that dreamed. It seemed so unreal. And he said, so people sometimes go back to their negative reality because that's what feels familiar to them. Listen, when you really have an encounter with the force, the Holy Spirit, your way of thinking is going to be challenged constantly. Constantly. When I was laying out my clothes last night. I'm happier on Sunday morning when I know what I'm going to wear on Saturday night, and I've found the right socks. Sunday morning me always blesses Saturday night me when I get up and I look. Saturday night me left my clothes out. I love Saturday night me because the times I don't, Sunday morning me hates that guy. I'm like, what is wrong with you? I can't find the socks that go with the. But I'm looking. I've recently gone through my closet, and I thought I've got to do it again because even some of my most recent stuff, I've either got to get these jackets taken in, or I'm going back to Goodwill. I've been to Goodwill so much they know me by name. They're all wearing my stuff out there. But that's the way it is with your thoughts. When your mind is being renewed constantly, you start to say something, you're like, I don't even believe this anymore. Why am I even saying this? This is some 38-year story that I've been beside the pool of Bethesda saying over and over again, and all it's doing is keeping me crippled. Do I want to be well? Yeah, I want to be well, and I realize it's going to make me have to challenge some stuff and get ready for this. It's going to change the terrain, the landscape of the people in your life. Because misery loves company. And when you opt out of misery, the miserable people get really upset about it. They don't like that. I don't know what you can't even talk to you anymore. Like, look, I'm aware there's negative stuff in the world. That's why I just took as much sarcasm out of it as I could. But I was getting so many inbox messages this week about freaking Hurricane Gordon that wasn't even coming to Panama City. Ooh, y'all better get out of there. Y'all, we have a TV. We have weather apps. We have a car. Please settle down. We're good. And, I'm like, I love these people, but sweet Jesus. I would have believed there's people enough that say, well, if he's out there in the hurricane, he must know what he's doing. Thank you. Let me show you this next quote. I've got 2 Roosevelt quotes today. This is by Teddy Roosevelt. He says, if you could kick the person in the pants responsible for most of your trouble, you wouldn't sit for a month. I've told you about the man that I went to visit. He's in ICU. He's got lung cancer and emphysema. In ICU smoking a cigar. I don't know how he pulled it off, but I went in there. I could smell the smoke. And he says, Pastor, I'm glad you came today because the devil's giving me emphysema. And I just want us to bow. That's got to bow to the name of Jesus. I'm like, I don't want to pray this prayer. And I was trying to be compassionate, but I was like, I rebuke you, not the devil. I just couldn't believe the amount of denial and this luxury that the devil provides for people, just to blame everything. Even if you believed in literal old school devil, then at least give me James 4:6, resist the devil and he'll flee from you. At least give me that. Even if you believe in old school horns and pitchfork, devil in the fight, then at least rebuke him. I'm telling you, when I opted out of the spiritual warfare system, it's amazing. The warfare just stopped. It just stopped. I'm not saying stuff doesn't happen. When I was trying to rent that vehicle last week and I just kept running into snag after snag after snag, that wasn't the devil. That was just like, I don't need to rent this vehicle. This is like I'm creating a problem that's not necessary. Now here's by his niece Eleanor Roosevelt. She says, in the long run, we shape our lives and we shape ourselves. The process never ends until we die, and the choices we make are ultimately our own responsibility. I quoted Sartre, Jean-Paul Sartre last week. We are our choices. This is kind of where, after 2 weeks of teaching this is where I'm at on this. Even if I don't think I signed up for all of it, even if I don't think I created all of it, I'm willing to err on the side of just let me take the full rap for it, even if I don't think it's fully my responsibility. I so am nauseated by victimization that I would rather just say I did it all. I did it all. Even if I really don't think I did it all, I'd rather be the guy that says, no, the buck stops with me. Because it makes me feel powerful. Like I told you the other night when I called Rutherford, he was, when he commits to a message, he's in it. Like he doesn't really allow for gray area. And so when I called him, I said, I just saw what you posted about you signed up for everything. I said, how much do you believe it? He said, I believe I created it all. And he's got this whole theory about how he created his own rejection and stuff. I said, I don't know that I fully agree with that, but I like what I hear in your voice. I don't know that I can fully say you made all the stuff happen in your life, but I haven't heard you sound this strong in a long, long time. So I like the spirit of it. I like the spirit of I own my life. I create my reality. I've been very aware. Again, these are small things, but like when we drop mom and dad off Friday night. We hadn't eaten. So we're driving back up Ponce. Where do you want to eat? I don't know. You want to get some breakfast? I don't know. I said, why don't let's go get Mexican. All right. Y'all know, trying to find a parking space at La Fonda on Ponce on a Friday night is like waiting for the angels to trouble the waters. People are sitting, waiting for a car. I've been there for 38 years saying, I've been sitting in this car for 38 years waiting for the angel to find me a parking space. We drove up right there in the front. I think there were two of them. I was like, double portion. Good measure. And that kind of stuff just happens pretty much all the time. We just say, we need a parking space. I need the weather to be better. I need to, I didn't have a big conversation with the weather, but on the way down, I said, all right, do what you got to do. I understand, but we would like, by the end of the week, I'd like some sunshine. I love you, clouds. I'm not telling you to go away. I don't want us to be in a drought and have California wildfires. But just, if you could rain a little bit, fine. And then we'd like some sunshine. Guess what happened? It rained a little bit, and we had some sunshine. But here's what I've learned. I kind of only have that in my metron. The word metron means sphere of influence. Somebody from somebody that doesn't really hear my voice and they want me to pray for them. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to have that kind of impact with you. Jesus couldn't do mighty miracles in his hometown where people saw him a particular way. He was dependent on their perception of him. It didn't take power away from him. He didn't have power where they were. Mom said something to me. We were in the car. She wanted me to pray for her. I said, well, a prophet is not without honor except in his own country. I said, I might not be able to do mighty miracles among you people unless you really believe in who I am. She said, are you telling me I don't believe in who you are? Do I remind you of what I did to bring you in this world? I said, that doesn't have anything to do with right now. You got to believe now, sister. I ain't talking about 1958. That's why I told you a few weeks ago, I was sitting there, pain in my chest. It wouldn't go away. I rebuked it. It wouldn't go away. Ken comes over in his Southern gentleman kind of way and says, now, Jesus, I'm going to need you to take this pain out of Jim's chest. Now, how could anybody refuse that? He asked so nicely, I'm going to need you to take this. I want you to, because that's not the way I wouldn't. Kenneth Copeland didn't teach me to pray that way. I was, in the name of Jesus. He just said, I'm going to need you to take this pain away. And I want you to know, in about 30 seconds, I said, I want you to know that pain is gone. Thank you. Thank you for asking nicely. And that's kind of the way we go out through our life now. It's like, I need a parking space. I need good weather. I'd like the money to come from somewhere else to pay for this car to get fixed this week. I could pay for it, but it would just be cool if it would be something else. Buddy, can you meet me in an hour? Okay. He could have just said, here's the money you just spent for your car. Thank you. And the more you praise that kind of stuff, it's like perpetual motion. When he says, I set before you life and death, he could just as easily say, I set before you 2 cycles. You're either going to be on like, oh God, what is it now? Now what? Because you see it and say it and see it, and it's like you've started this momentum, and now you're caught up in it. It's like you're swirling with it. Well, how's everything since I saw you? Oh, well, let me tell you what's happened now, dear God. And you've added to the list. That's why I took that picture of me drinking wine the other night, because I thought, well, I've had some negative stuff. Now I'm in my beautiful loft looking out at the skyline, drinking a glass of wine with my feet up, Ken's going to fold the fitted sheets when he gets here. You know what I mean? I'm like, what? Really? What's the point of being upset? It's all good. Big old bottle of Pinot Grigio in that refrigerator. I was like, look at God. Won't he do it? Big. I don't even know who gave me. You might have got just big ass bottle of wine. I'm like, just all the wine I want, Jesus. Come on now. Proverbs says, give wine to him who's of a heavy heart. My heart was heavy. You know, that's all I'm saying. Jesus' first miracle was turning water into wine. I'm just trying to honor the miracles of Jesus. Jesus, in honor of your first miracle, I'm going to pour me another glass. And it didn't occur to me to go, let me tell you this horrible day. No, I did not have a horrible day. I went and preached a great message last week. Yes, I had some turbulence during the afternoon. It's a thing. It's just stuff that happens. Life and death was set before me. Now, you know what? We're going to have a great time. Let's go pick up my parents and have a great... And we did. It was great. Let me wrap this up. I like this motivational speaker, Maraboli. I quote him a lot. It says, the victim mindset dilutes the human potential. By not accepting personal responsibility for our circumstances, we greatly reduce our power to change them. That's one thing that these laws of attraction guys have really, I think they've got it right on. What you resist persists. So if you keep, I even looked on a numerology website. I looked up if there was any significance with 38. Like, why did the story say 38 years? And I couldn't really find anything that I felt like needed to be taught about. But it's, at least I'll say this: it's a long time. 38 years is a long time to have perfected that story and told that story. And let me be real with you. Having somebody feel sorry for you feels good. I mean, it's like there's a human connection with somebody saying, oh, I can't believe what you've been through. It's a natural response. Otherwise, there'd be no social media. We want people to know this is what. But like I was scrolling through the feed yesterday, and I noticed how many people would say, I don't feel good. They just say, I don't feel good, or I've got a fever. And I think, why are you putting that out there? That Chinese food I ordered last night was a little strange. And my stomach felt weird when I went to bed last night. I said, I'm going to go and lay down. I didn't sleep much last night. I'm going to lay down. He said, you feel okay? I said, I will tomorrow. Well, guess what? I did tomorrow. It was fine. There's no point in me giving TMI of what was going on with the Mugu Gai Pan. You know, it was what it was. It might not even been that. It might have just been, I don't know what it was. But I prophesied my own resurrection. I said, no, I just need to sleep. I'll be fine in the morning. This morning, how you feel? I'm fine. I was sitting in Starbucks not long ago, and you know, when your antenna's out, you hear everything. And I walked in, and on the soundtrack, they're playing James Brown, hardest working man in show business. And I hear, I feel good, na 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 na. I knew that I would, na 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 na. And I thought, that's an interesting concept. I feel good because I planned it ahead of time. I knew I was going to feel good. I thought, thank you, James Brown. That'll preach. As does Get Up Off of That Thing. Another great, and dance till you feel better. There's a great truth in that. Because basically, it's James Brown's way of saying David encouraged himself in the Lord. Sometimes, exactly, but seriously, I know you're being funny, but that is the truth. That's basically what Jesus said to the man at the pool. Get up off of that thing. get up off of that 38-year tired story. There's nothing more insulting than somebody saying, you got to tell that tired story again. Like, ooh, is my story tired? Ooh. I don't want to tell a tired story. I want to tell the stories. Oh, tell us that one again, the funny one. Not a tired, like, sweet Jesus, are you really going to tell the 38? And then this happened, and then that happened. It's taken me a while to finally get to this place when somebody says, what do you do? I can just say, oh, I still call it a ministry. I have a ministry. We meet in the theater over here. It's really cool. It's kind of like spirituality meets TED Talks kind of thing. Oh, okay. But there was a few years there when somebody said, what do you do? Well, I used to have this church in Conyers. It was a mega church. Blah, 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 blah. And I was in the middle of telling it one day, and it was like, Holy Ghost. It's like, if you ever just felt like the Holy Ghost was like, if you tell it one more time, one more. And I was like, you know what? I have a ministry in Midtown Atlanta. It's my favorite theater, my favorite part of my favorite city. My life is awesome. And then if you want more information, fine, I'll tell you that later. But I'm not going to, I will edit my story until the victimization is totally taken out of it. Totally. That's why when people say, did you crop that picture? Yes, we cropped that picture. When somebody says, you can't ever take a bad picture. Yeah, we don't put it on Facebook. Some of the stuff people post of themselves, I'm like, don't you want to make yourself look a little better? Well, I just want to say who I am. Well, I don't want to look at it. Work on that a little bit. It'll be the last time I'll refer to him today, but if he's ever taking me pictures of working out, I'm like, move around here where you get better angles. You can take that picture. No, in my gym, we're going to say the way people look, not me, you're not. Oh, no, you're not. And show me what you're about to post on there. Nope. I don't like the way my belly looks on that one. Delete that. Other people may not care. I care. Because that's the way I feel about my life. I'm gonna tell you the happy story until the happy story becomes the reality. And then I'll wrap it up with this. I've quoted her before. I don't know why her name is this, but that's the name. I like the way she says this. Life is not compassionate toward victims. The trick is not to see yourself as one. It's never too late. I know I felt like the victim in various situations in my life, but it's never too late for me to realize that it's my responsibility to stand on victorious ground and know that whatever it is I'm experiencing or going through, those are just the clouds rolling by while I stand here on the top of this mountain called victory. The clouds will come and the clouds will go. But the truth is that I'm high up here on this mountain that reaches into the sky. I am a victor. I didn't climb up the mountain. I was born on top of it. Let's all stand. I can't improve on that. Did you get anything out of this today? Play the ending for the YouTube people. Don't you feel empowered? I told you to feel empowered. Thank you again, Jonah, for being here.
Contributing to Metron is quick and easy. Simply text the amount you would like to give to 404-620-5044. And now you can give anytime by texting this number. You will then receive a one-time registration form that links your phone number and opens your account at SimpleGive. Complete the form, and you will then receive a successful registration and donation page. For additional information on your account, visit bishandthenow.com and click the Support tab. Then, My Online Donation. When you contribute to Metron, you're also supporting the charity or organization of the month. Thank you for your investment in Metron.
If you're making a check, make it to JESM, and Danny will receive that. If you have cash, just go pay it forward. Go bless somebody. Take somebody to lunch. Give it to somebody that's homeless out here. You might want to bless Jonah for being with us today. Jude will be back with us next week, but Jonah rocked it today. Jared, always glad to have you. Tell Meredith we said hello. Sophie, glad you're here. I didn't meet you yet. What is your name? Glad to meet you, Simon. Cool hair. If I had that much hair, I'd be happy every day. Every day I would look in the mirror and go, ain't nothing but a thing. When you got hair like that, what could be wrong in life? You're going to have a great afternoon. Get some rest. Eat something good. Take care of yourself. Get a good night's rest. You're going to be very productive this week. You're strong. You're beautiful. You're attractive. You're smart. Good things are coming to you. That money's not just flowing down the sidewalk for me. It's flowing for everybody. So put it out there and open up your arms and receive abundance from the universe. And you wake up tomorrow saying, this is the day the Lord has enabled me to make. I will rejoice and be glad in it. God bless you. Go in peace. I love you.